Wow, hello! After this epic intro, I don't know if this video can get any better. So let's try to make some kind of art. Might have gotten the hint that it will be Disney related. I've been to a Disney concert and that inspired me to make something Disney-ish. And you might have seen it in the thumbnail, it's going to be a Lorcana card. I asked a fellow YouTuber about some popular cards and he showed me this epic Mickey Mouse. I don't know guys, I just love the artwork and it directly inspired me. So, Mickey Mouse it is. This time I want to plan ahead and try a detailed sketch. So let's get the artwork started. I want a stone and the card and the mouse. Takes some time to draw a mouse and we're done. Took me long enough. Let's start with some foil. I want to place the card on top, so I make sure to measure the size. After that, I wrap it up in clay. I try to give it a stony shape by adding some more clay and giving it some indentations. I want my Mickey Mouse to kind of cut his way through the card and posing on the stone. For that, I roughly measure out where the cut will be and sketch it on my cardboard. After scolding myself on that for coffee, I continue with cutting out the sketched out part on the cardboard and doing the same on my stone. I also add some smaller stones that will be placed around the hole. Now it's time for our main character. I use some thick wire and shape the legs. I wrap the upper part up in foil and in clay. I add some clay to his skinny legs and start making teeny tiny pads. I attach them to the leg and I already paint them because they will be really hard to reach later. And I also paint his legs in a deep black. And now we can move on with the outfit. It's time for his, I don't know, tunic? Is it a tunic? I start with lower part that looks like a skirt. I attach some sausages to imitate the folds and smooth everything out. I proceed with making the belt out of a long noodle and attach an additional strip to the side. Time to make arms. I drill holes in his already tiny body and insert 2 pieces of wire. Wrap them up in clay and make some folds on the elbow. His fist is practically a bean with 3 sausages. Well, 4. And that's exactly what we will sculpt. Make some minor adjustments and attach the hand to the arm. I also add the missing part of the glove out of a strip of clay. I want to make scissors now. I start with 2 rings, make them flat on the inside and add the tiny wing on the left. For the blades, I cut 2 pieces of clay in shape and make a round incision on each blade to where the screw will be visible. I carve in the details and bake it. To make it look sharp, I definitely need to do some sanding. I assemble everything with a bit of Bacon Bond Sculpey and the scissor is done. I make another bean and sausage creation to hold the scissors and press the sausages in place. Last thing to do is to attach it to the arm. I can finally continue painting. I love the sculpting part, but when you add paint to your creation, it just boosts everything up so much. Look at it, so much better. I paint the yellow details on his tunic and try to forget the fact that I still have to sculpt his head. But that's a problem of future me. Now it's time for the scarf. I try to cut out the shape from a block of clay. By removing clay just bit by bit, I slowly get the shape that I want. And now, it is time. Can't procrastinate any longer. It is time for the head. I know, you're thinking, why so dramatic? But hear me out. I've spent days sculpting and painting and baking the body. If I can't get the head right, this thing won't work. But then why didn't you sculpt the head first? Well, yes. Now let me tell you what I'm doing. You've seen me attach a pyramid-shaped piece to the head. Now I'm smoothing and thickening everything up. I form a small hole and attach an oval-shaped nose to the front. I smooth everything out to prepare for baking. At this point, I'm pretty happy about the process. It kinda looks like Mickey on the card, so the whole process was not in vain. I prepared 2 flat circles and fixed them in place with a piece of wire. I still have some sanding and dropping to do before painting. The face gets a beige color, and while it's drying, I continue with his gloves. His ears, head and nose obviously get a nice black. I prepare the flying parts of the scarf. I incorporate a piece of wire so it will hold its shape. And it will look something like this later. Last thing to do before putting him onto the stone is his head. I start forming it and realize that I can't get a proper size without painting Mickey's eyes first. The further procedure is more or less try and error. I cut and press and form until I think it looks okay. Back to painting. I just love this teal color of his scarf. The head gets a nice light brown color and I carefully add the details to the head and draw him a thin line for his mouth. Now I can focus on the stone. I still need to give it a stone texture, and what better to use than an actual stone. Rub the dirt off and start hitting the clay with it. I realized that it is still dirty, so I give it a little bath. Repeat the hitting procedure and it's done. I painted in a nice dark stone grey, not to confuse with duff grey, or elephant grey, or asphalt grey, or mouse grey, or smoke grey, or slate grey, or concrete grey, or ash grey, or silver grey, or neutral grey. And I dry brush a white color on to highlight all the edges. I can now start making his boots. Now his skinny legs finally get something to stand on. I first add an oval to his legs and start adding strips of clay to form the folds of the upper part of the boot. After painting it in a nice red and some type of grey, we get to the last part. I obviously did not buy a real card to then destroy it, so I made some copies. I cut the center out and it fits. I glued the card to the stone and made a tiny hole in the card to insert the front leg. Looking quite good so far. I positioned the stones on the card and I finally glued the head on top and forgot to film it. But you will see the final piece in the beauty shots. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.